Thankfully, Mike. We haven't had a question from a Mike in days, it seems. Mike says, I'm a 37-year-old deputy sheriff in a rural county in Michigan who's also a has-been Division III football player. I dabbled in powerlifting and currently train in BJJ. I'm 6'2" and about 235 pounds. My lifts are as follows: squat 415, bench 310, deadlift 410. I've been using Jim Wendler's 531 and multiple variations of that for the past 6 or 7 years. I know my days of hitting big PRs are behind me, and my goals are simply to maintain the base of strength I have for work and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But even maintaining that base seems like an uphill battle. I also seem to be dealing with a lot more tweaks and nagging pains than ever than before. Any suggestion for some programming tweaks that I could add to build up my strength base? Yeah, you see, Mike, this is why I think it's important to have a coach or something like the workout generator at Dan John University. You need, to me, it's screaming to me that you need some variation. I use Nick Rain's breakdowns for ages 16 to 35, 36 to 55, and 56 plus. You're in that second range, and you need to spend quality time every year now. And it's strange for me to say this because, I'm certainly no bodybuilder, but you need to do basic hypertrophy mixed with mobility work as for either 6 to 12 weeks or mixing it in weekly in an intelligent way. But with your numbers, see, the thing about hypertrophy and done correctly is it doesn't just make you look good on the beach. It also moves the joints through a nice range of motion. It gives you a chance to heal up some of those injuries, and it does wonders for your lean body mass. Your numbers are fine. They're not world class, but your strength levels are good. What I might suggest to you is find 3 numbers that mean something to you and say, okay, I got to be able to do this. The late Glenn Passy, he one time told me that clean and press his body weight, snatch his body weight, clean and jerk maybe 20 pounds more than his body weight. As long as he held on those numbers, he could be an international level thrower. And it's like, well, those aren't very big numbers, but it worked. So it might be something you might want to do. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, honestly. 315 squat, 225 bench. That deadlift needs to come up. 365 deadlift, okay? Those basic numbers. And what I'd like you to do is maybe take, 6 to 12 weeks of doing a general hypertrophy mobility program. Yeah, body build. And then come back at the end and go in and test those numbers without actually training those movements. You'd certainly do hinges and squats, but not training for heavy. And just see where your numbers are. And then you might want to say to myself, well, 225, I can bench that any day of the week. That's nothing. Well, good. So, or whatever the magic numbers. If you can't bench that 225, how many workouts does it take you to get back at that easy lift? And what I'm thinking here, Mike, is that I'd like you to get your strength levels up. Okay, your strength levels are here now. And then do this hypertrophy bodybuilding stuff. Your strength numbers will probably come down a little bit. And that's just nervous. That's just the nervous system. It's not you. Don't take it personally. And then what I want to do is, just by doing this general bodybuilding mobility stuff, we're going to test these numbers. If you can't bench 225 the first day back, that would be concerning to me. But it takes you 2 workouts. Good. Okay, so it takes you 2 workouts to get back to where your lowest end is. And then maybe if we do this again, the next time you bench 225 right after that 6 to 12 weeks of hypertrophy, then we know that you're really not losing strength. That number's 225 might be a little low, but so a number that you can get, but it's still heavy. That's the number I want you to start thinking about. And Mike, that would be the standard I want you to start thinking long term. And you want to stay as strong as you can with the least amount of work on it. Now, you're noticing that you're having some problems with some injuries and stuff. Yeah, well, you're doing BJJ and powerlifting. And I'm guessing you're probably riding around a vehicle a lot. That riding around, that desk work, and the BJJ and powerlifting, those are all things that are going to lead to some issues. And so I think any time you can spend doing some general hypertrophy, doing some general bodybuilding is going to be